Welcome, Parveen. I hope you liked your bio.
I loved my bio. Yeah, I am quite. That was brilliant. I sound like I want to interview me now.
I hope so because I came across your Instagram videos and I love how you were dancing with your food on on live Instagram following. Like it was nuts, but I
I know
absolutely
it
loved how
was.
you're so confident and going like a Bollywood queen.
Thank you. I think I am a lot cheekier in real life than I am on TV.
But I love it.
That's why I love it when I do demonstrations and get to be me. But naughty bites is something that when you said naughty bites, then I'm going to come and do this podcast.
That's exciting because I really so talking of naughty bites, that is what my podcast is called. What is your most sinful treat that you treat yourself to after a hard day of work?
I do treat myself. So for somebody who's a foodie, when you've been cooking all day, and if I've done a 5 course dinner party for 20, I actually come home and two things I might go to is a nice mug of tea or cup of tea. Look at my
I
mug.
gotta say, for the ones that can see this on YouTube, the mug says the Spice Queen, which you
And
truly
this is
are.
it. Now, please don't judge me. Nice biscuit, a digestive or hobnob. And my naughty bite is dunk it in. Oh, it won't fit. Dunk it in. I dunk my biscuits. I don't know if it's a Yorkshire thing or is it Asian thing. I'm not
I
sure.
don't know because I don't know if you've seen it. It's the Best Marigold Hotel film. It's got Judy Dench
I love
and
it. My
like
favorite.
okay, so she does the same thing. You dunk it until it either falls off or you're so like you're a perfectionist and you have it just at that moment where it's about to fall off and you just shove it in your mouth.
There's certain biscuits that work really well. So I watch, don't know which, there's a comedian and he kept saying, dunk me, dunk me. And apparently it's hobnob. That's the most dunkable biscuit.
Oh,
This is
I gotta try
digestive.
that
So
out.
I thought
I
that's
gotta
my
try that
first
out.
naughty bite. And you know what? I just love dunking biscuits in tea.
But I love that because I miss not having UK biscuits here in Spain. So when you're having your digestive, all I think is like chocolate, dark chocolate covered digestive, and when it just melts in your tea, and you're like, oh, like get in my belly. I totally miss that. It's one of my favorites. Okay, so your journey into the culinary scene is very different. You've gone from working in education,
Hmm.
you started your own spice range,
I
and now
did.
you're a regular on ITV. Is your it's your passion and your love of food that's led you there. What has your journey been like so far?
I think, sorry, there's the cat. Before we start this podcast, I said to Anisha, if my cat comes and meows and she's here, she just knows I'm busy. She's
It's all
called
right.
Saffron.
I'm a cat lover, so it's all good.
She's called Saffron after
Oh,
Safi. So
that's nice.
interesting. She's an Asian cat because when I'm sauteing garlic and onions, she knows there's meat around and she's coming in meowing for that. So
Really?
normally when I'm in the kitchen, she knows mum is cooking. Um, so that was surreal moment with my cat Safi. She's here somewhere, and I think the journey is surreal. How does a girl from Bradford with a basic education, just with the two skills that I had, which was probably to make people laugh and probably to talk a lot. How does one then get an ITV show? Surreal would come to my mind because I am just me being me on camera. But if anything, the ITV series and many TV shows take your personality, your food, and you have to tone it down for TV. There's compliance and there's people you have to appease in real life. I'm quite naughty.
I
And
like
do
that because
naughty things.
I can't wait to get to know all these little naughty things on my podcast today.
Maybe someone said, "Oh, that was that why you called the Spice Queen." I said, "No, that's not why I call the Spice Queen. I have my own range of spices." There's certain things I would say on in real life, and I say, "Come on, then, girls, give it a stir. It's good for your bingo wings." And I
The
did
bingo, yeah.
on the show. We were showing chapati flour, and he said, "Come on, describe the chapati flour." And I said, "There's white, there's brown, there's wholemeal, gluten free." I said, "I like it brown, like my men."
You
And he
like it
said,
brown like your men.
and he's
Can
like,
we call it Mediterranean?
"No, can't say that on ITV." I said, "Go on, I dare you." He said,
I
"No."
love
So things like that that I can't say on camera, I do in real life.
that. I like that because I'm still laughing about I like my men brown. Um,
I love white
I'm
men
still
too.
laughing.
I love all colours of men.
This is why we call naughty bites. Um, like you mentioned that you are you, but it's you that has giving you this opportunity in this industry, which is so difficult. And even though you've said you've had to tone it down, your personality and that twinkle in your eye still comes through on your little videos on Instagram, even on television. And a lot of people resonate with that. And also the fact that you're a South Asian woman from Bradford.
I know.
Like, when I hear Bradford, I'm like, I just remember as a child going, oh no, I don't want to go up to Yorkshire as a child, because as a kid, you're like, can we go somewhere exotic?
Exotic, yeah.
And for me, it's like, you've come from Bradford, you're on like national TV. A lot of women will be thinking, even girls, young children, teenagers, women in the field, and trying to make it go, how did she do it? And she's done it. So for them, you are an inspirational. For many, you would be a role model, including myself, because I think, you know, a lot of people will be thinking, she's done it. You know, you've gone from different, your career, your CV is very different, but you've gone from marketing, education, all these other different areas into food, which is very difficult, but you've done it and you've achieved it and you've got the medal, you know. So I think for myself, it's a wonderful journey that you've gone through, you know.
Well, for myself too, actually. Now, of course, Bradford is being awarded the Cultural City of 2025.
Wow.
And sometimes when I go back home and I go for a night out and we have food, I'm absolutely gobsmacked at the amount of restaurants and how busy each restaurant is. They're not restaurants, the huge buildings empty. They're just full. It's like if you go to the way I see it is, if you go to church on a Sunday, you've got a few people. Go to mosque on a Friday, it's packed with people. It's almost like these people are going to worship their food. This is their food and they love it. And I think when I went to a particular restaurant on a Tuesday night and I said to my sister, oh, we'll get in, won't we? Do you have to book? She went, wait till you get there. Tuesday night, people all dressed up. I said, oh, is it a wedding? She went, no, people just dressing up to go out for dinner on a Tuesday night. I had to queue to get in. I think, what is going on? And because there's so many restaurants and because Bradford has so many South Asian people in the community, they've got to be good.
They have to be.
The standard is quite high. So I love it when I go back. In fact, I'm back there this weekend doing a cooking lesson, actually.
That's amazing, because the last time I was in Bradford, my husband had just turned celiac. And thankfully, my sister-in-law, her father's a celiac. She went, Anisha, I know the restaurant to go to. And honest to God, for Carlos, it was amazing, because the guy that was standing by the meals was like, you can't have that, you can't have that, you can have this, you can have this. Everyone, do not mix the spoons. We have a celiac here. And for Carlos, he felt so relaxed to be able to enjoy proper like restaurant curries, because when you cook at home, it's different. But when you eat out, there's something about meat and the vegetables and all the snacks and savories, which are amazing. And Bradford is one of those places, because as well, like, you know, when you think of the culinary scene of like South Asia, I was also talking about my grandma, like, you know, Pakistan is amazing for meat biryanis, meat dishes. India, more vegetarian. And then Bangladesh was like all the seafood. And it's true, because my mom's best friend, Tasneen, she would make the most amazing meat biryanis, and she'd make tuppers and save them in our freezer. And for me, that was like a thing to go to Bradford for, meat curries.
Yeah, we're very meat based. You're right. I never thought of it like that. And so a few years ago, my daughter was vegetarian. Then she became a flexitarian. And then she came for dinner and I said, what are you now? She went, Mum, I'm a vegan now. I said, you're a vegan? Vegan reminds me of those baddies from Star Trek. Like, a vegan is a flexible vegan. I went, get with it. I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. So every time she comes, but when she's at home, I can make paneer, I can make pakore, I can make dal, I can make chawal, I can make most anything for her, and it fits the bill. If she's flexible vegan. And I've got clients that are vegetarian, and they'll say, Parveen, you know, vegetarianism is so good. I said, South Asian food lends itself so well.
Yeah.
However, we Pakistani Asians love our meat. So when my daughter was vegetarian, went to my in-laws for Eid, and there was like lamb biryani, kebab burgers, chicken burgers, lambuna, everything was where's the veggie? I said, it's Eid, we're going to go full on carnivore. So yeah, when you go to Bradford, I think I love the shish kebabs, because the way they are char grilled is something I can't emulate at home, even though I've tried. There's only two things that a restaurant does that I feel I can't do. Otherwise, I'm very picky. They call me Picky Parveen, you know. When I did come down with me, my name was Picky Parveen.
Picky Parveen. Oh
And
my
I am
God.
picky, and the kids will not go out to eat with me. That mum, you're so picky, you're so fussy. I said, I'm not fussy, I'm particular. There's a difference.
So
But
they're all peas,
they're
particular,
all peas,
picky
yeah. I've
Parveen.
got some more peas for you later. I've got some more peas. That sounds rude, but yeah. That sound rude. I have tandoori naan is something I can't do at home properly, not with a tandoor unless you go in the
Yeah.
back garden, which people do have in the back garden now.
Wow.
And it's the flame grilled shish kebab burger flavor you can't get at home, even though you emulate the heat. The amount of heat they have
Yeah.
is incredible compared to, we can't emulate that in our homes. However, when it comes to a tadka dal or a chapati or a pakora or a samosa or a gulab jamun or jalebi, I feel that actually mine's better, I think.
Yeah. But you are a professional. And
Am I though? I always say, am I professional? Because I'm not professionally trained as a chef. So I see myself as a cookery teacher. And
okay.
when I was on air, that's the feedback I got from many people in the industry. Said, "Oh, you actually teach cooking." So earlier you said I had all these different jobs, marketing,
Yeah.
teaching. I think because I'm an ex-teacher and I teach children, that sort of comes into it, and I'm teaching cooking. And I'm not a patient person. I got no patience except when I'm teaching cooking.
Right.
I have
But
so much patience because I know my art, and I'm doing a job where I feel the most comfortable because it's food that
okay.
I grew up with. So there's no pretense then. It's all so very real to me.
But you make it sound, so your cookery teaching side comes through, but you make it feel so natural that you make it easy to understand for the people watching. Oh, because people think Indian food, oh, it's so complicated. There's lots of spices. Oh, they overpower it. But when you have real Indian food, it's not, people think spice, it's gonna burn my mouth. But it's the flavor, like
It's the
it's
flavor.
flavor, and you showcase that in your food because you shared a video the other day, and it was of this like chicken pilau, I think it was.
Oh,
And
yeah.
when I saw the little tips of rice, and I'm like, that's proper basmati rice. That's how it should be.
I think I said something like, "Is standing proud?"
Yeah, it is standing proud because you know
It's
how hard it is to get that. It's
yeah.
so
And I
hard.
said things like, "Don't peek, leave it alone." So when we were filming the show, they said, "Okay, Parveen, can you say this and can you say that?" And the first day to 2 days of filming, they were feeding me lines, and it didn't seem real.
Yeah.
I said, "Can I just say what I would say in real life?" And some of the things I would say in real life are way too risque.
Saucy,
Saucy
I'd
for
say.
telly.
No pun
You should have
intended,
seen
but
me.
saucy.
Oh, Anisha, you should have seen me Kulfi lolly.
Oh
They
yeah,
had these long lollies,
I bet they were long.
and I had to lick it. And I said to my producer, I said, he said, "Just lick it." I said, he went, "Not like that, Parveen." I said, "Well, how?" He said, "Non-sexually." So I've got this long lolly, and I had this longy. I had to like take it out the hole, and I had to say something, and my eyebrow went up. No eyebrows, Parveen. And the
Oh my
cheekiness came
goodness.
in, and they had to take it out. Then he said, "Just lick it non-sexually." So I tried. I said, "Can I just lick the end of it?" No.
No, oh my goodness.
And no matter
You
what I
could
did, it came across really naughty. And I said, "I bet if I was Nigella, you would let me do
I
the
was just
naughty."
gonna say that, but it wasn't Nigella. You could be like the Indian Nigella.
I
Like
think they were very I would have done it, but they were very conscious of my culture and my background, my religion.
but
So no naughtiness on telly for me.
no naughtiness, but a lot of people do have a sense of humor. So I think that would be that would have been funny if it came through. But I hope to see that clip one day. If you
No,
want to share it with me.
I'm going to redo it on a stage in a food festival. I'm in a food festival at the end of August. I am going to do it and say, "Look, this is how you're really supposed to eat it." It's just, I don't take myself too seriously.
Okay.
I take the food seriously, but not
Yeah.
myself, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I get that because I don't know, you are from Bradford, and culinary food and spices have been around the area you live in because of the people that live there. What was it like growing up, going to these sort of, fragrant supermarkets and cash and carries? How did that make you feel?
Nisha, there wasn't that many growing up. There wasn't
Okay.
in the 70s. Remember, I'm a lot older than you. My birthday yesterday. I think viewers should guess how old I am because I'm a 60s.
I know, but I wouldn't know. But you look younger than your age. If that's really good though.
Thank you. I think it's turmeric.
No, I think it's Asian genes. We have so much like we have such oily skin that, you know, what was that line in My Big Fat Greek Wedding? Greek don't crinkle or something like that. It's
Yeah,
the same with Asian women, South Asian,
brown don't
Asian in
crack.
general, we don't crack.
Yes, I turned 57 yesterday. And if
Happy
you would say,
birthday.
oh, I am, thank you. And my son is 32. So when he's with me, people think, oh, he's like your husband. So he gets embarrassed. I don't really.
Good
But I think
compliment.
it's not so much what you eat. It's not so much how you look. It's what you eat. It's how you behave. It's your mindset.
It is
It's happiness
everything.
that glows, that shows on the
Yeah.
outside. How you feel on the inside shows on the outside. And someone said to me, oh, do you really cook? And I think a lot of people still say, oh, do you really cook? And I said, no, I really cook. I went, but you really cook? I went, no, I really cook. And so apparently a lot of TV chefs don't actually cook in real life. It's a
Okay.
job for TV. But I mean, the other day it was Father's Day, and I had to make 3 different. I made lamb slide burgers,
Ooh,
salad
nice.
fries with a turmeric coleslaw. I made fish for my husband. I made a salad, and I made myself something. I made like 7 dishes.
Oh my
And
goodness.
my husband's father, friend came for dinner. He said, "Oh my God, it's a feast." I said, "Well, I cook for a living." He said, "But you're always cooking." I said, "I am, because I love it."
It's good. I think it's important. You said the key word, love it. I think it's important to feel like some people just do their job, but you actually love your job and it comes through in everything you do. Like, I think it's the energy you give off.
It's definitely energy. You're thinking about the jalebi dance again, aren't you, Alicia?
I am thinking of, sorry,
the
it's
TikTok thing, and
for
something I don't have
for
to.
those of you who are not following Parveen, please follow Parveen, because you've got to see the jalebi dance,
Jalebi
because
dance.
it's very colourful.
Anyway, we'd filmed a podcast, or we did 5 recipes the whole day, and we were just finishing, and we were all very tired. So I said to the team, "Come on, let me just do it." So I was actually exhausted. So with the energy thing, I think is important.
Yeah.
And then people will have
Definitely.
say I don't know, say I made a chicken masala, and those that like our cuisine will have had a chicken masala hundreds of times.
Yeah.
When you go to restaurants, and I find when I cook for clients, they will have the same thing every time they go. So when I cook something, sometimes someone said, "No, Parveen, do something different, do something fusion, do something exciting." Sometimes the clients I cook for don't want anything really that exciting. They just want to know how to cook what they know.
Okay.
How to cook a peshwari naan, how to make a tadka dal. Tadka dal is probably the easiest recipe in the world, but the hardest to get right.
It is
I've
true.
had dal. I'm like, what is this? This is not dal. And so even my daughter makes it. She said, "Mom, how come yours is so nice?" I said, probably is just, yes, I know the recipe backwards, but the energy you put into the food is important.
Yeah.
So when people eat it, they taste that love you've put in. If you speak to any passionate chef, and you're going to be speaking to a few of my friends, they put their passion into the food, and that is what one can taste. The only difference with me is I don't own a restaurant. So when you hire me, I'm doing a garden party for a 60th soon.
Yeah.
And I'm making this food, but the food we cook specifically for my client.
Okay.
And she's so excited, but it is because I'm excited, and we sort of feed off each other with that excitement thing.
Definitely.
And I don't know what I'm excited about: getting there, cooking it, eating it, or the dancing afterwards.
I think it's a dancing.
It's
a dancing. I think you're gonna have like your little slider on the side and go, "Yeah, this is amazing."
Somebody said, "Oh, you do Bollywood parties. Who does the dancing?" I said, "I do."
Yeah, I do miss Bollywood dancing. Like, literally do miss it. So I do have another question for you. I've been so fortunate to get to know you a little over the past month or two, and your fun-loving and passionate side about your food really comes through. It's actually like it kind of oozes out of you. Like now, if for those of you can see this, you can see her fully smiling. This has made you highly sought after as a private chef. Okay. Have there been any once in a lifetime opportunities that have come your way?
Yes. Finish the question first, Alicia. Finish the question.
Okay, go. You can go. Because I could just see you going conversing.
Something that I had opportunity that I missed.
Okay.
Or that I was almost finished.
Both. You can answer both. One that you've missed, or one that you've really enjoyed, like thinking, "Oh my God," like, you know, your journey's taking you there as a private chef.
The biggest opportunity is I work for an agency. So somebody said to me, "How did you get into this?" And what people don't know when they saw me in ITVs, I had about a decade of experience in shopping TV.
Okay.
So I lived in Peterborough, and there's a shopping channel called Ideal World. And those that know Ideal World, I was on there selling my spices. So I'd be the person standing, filling airspace for an hour, cooking live, talking, engaging, and selling at the same time. I didn't think it was a skill, but apparently it is a skill. And I like live TV. So I had done so many things in my life that led me to this. And one thing I did was I joined an agency to be a private chef. I thought, do the job I want to do.
Okay.
So I went all around the world with this agency, and we got an email from them saying, can you do this particular dinner party? And I was doing Carfest at the time with Chris Evans. I thought, nope, going to do Carfest. I'm booked. I'm going to be on a stage, and that's where I'm the happiest. The client was a family called Mittal.
Okay.
From India.
All right.
Multi-billionaire shipping magnates. Well, you don't know them?
No, because I'm just looking at you like,
Exactly. I'm like, who? So I was telling my daughter, I said, oh, we got this request for me to do a dinner party in central London, in Kensington somewhere. It was private apartments for a family called Mittal. She went, Mom, the Mittals. I'm like, yeah, the Mittals. She says, you know, they're like almost like Indian royalty, and I had no idea. And she said, don't do Carfest, do them, because it's a good opportunity for you. But I made my mind up that I agreed to do Carfest for charity for children in need.
Wow.
And I didn't say no, because I stick to my word.
Oh my goodness.
I know, and I'm sure it would have been a great opportunity for me. And I had to deal with the PAs, not the butler, the PA. I dealt with the PA's PA.
Yeah.
And I sent them a book to apologize on my cookbooks. I never heard back.
But it's for a charity. It's for children in need. So, it's disheartening. But look what you're doing now.
Missed opportunities, but I know I love doing Carfest. And then there's times when I've had an opportunity and I've met somebody, and I think, have I just met that person? Did they just know who I am? And I think for me, the surreal moment is when I'd gone to the National TV Awards.
Yay.
And I wasn't allowed to. I had my show was live, so I couldn't. And on TV, I was dressed very, very serene, very not serene, very sort of non-Asian. I went in a full-on Bollywood Rajasthani ball gown. I was full. Got there to the O2. I walked into the room, and Lorraine Kelly knew who I was. And I'm like, oh my God,
starstruck.
That was, and I was starstruck. And then, and then I walked in and I chatted to everybody, and I thought, oh, you know what? Here I'm at National TV Awards in the box, and Lorraine Kelly and Lou Sweeney were there, and all the presenters. It was the most surreal moment, but a fantastic opportunity. So now, when we are hoping to pitch my second series, the people that are in the know and powerful people did meet me, except I was full on Bollywood that night.
Oh, that's amazing. Come on. And you got to do a bit of dancing, I hope. So, right, my next question. You grew up in Bradford and raised in a British South Asian household where family tends to bond over food. It's where whole families sit together after a long day and chat and have long conversations. This is something that I remember as well. And it's that bond that makes you become stronger. It's said that in Ayurvedic thinking, which is still ingrained in many Indian cooking techniques, you're not supposed to be disturbed when you're eating. You should be calm, sat down, and relax around your family. What was it like growing up for you in Bradford around like meal times?
When you were asking the question, I was already preempting it slightly, because I told you I'm not a patient person. Touching around eating, and because you haven't got my book, I must get my book to you. And one of the things I mentioned is the fact, in this busy life of Wi-Fi and phones and fast cars, everything's too fast.
Yeah.
And the only time one gets to sit down and relax is when one eats. And it's the only time I ban phones at my table at home. Yeah. In my childhood, we have no issues with phones. We had no phones. So we all sat. There were 7 of us, plus mum and dad, 9 of us. So we never sat around the table. There's too many of us. We sat on the floor every night.
The memories of that.
Put the chadder down, you put the blanket on the floor, and we all sat on the floor and had food. And it was probably one of the happiest times of my childhood, the food together.
It's funny you say that. Some of my happiest of memories was always around meal times. So my grandparents from my dad's side, my grandfather, he was just such a sensational cook. And you know how you said it's the passion, but it's also the hand that makes the food. Like, you know, it's that saying.
We say it, don't we? We say it, you know, it's in the hand.
It's in the hand, that's right. And he made the most amazing, I think I would have been about 3 or 4, but it's the only memory I kind of have of his food. And he went, Anisha's old enough to try crab curry. So I literally had like, he had this, because we eat with our hands, chapati and crab, and he just fed me. And I was like, oh my God, like it was so good. It was so nice. But then my grandma had it quite lucky. She was like, oh, I just got to make the chapatis because my grandfather couldn't, like, didn't make them. But growing up, even though her cooking was absolutely fantastic, my grandfather was better. Sorry,
Ah,
grandparents. He was better. But then on my mom's side, my mom's sisters, like my aunt in Canada, my massie in Canada, and my other massie that lived in Preston, their food was something else. I kid you not. It was just, again, all of us, 20 of us, sat around the floor and eating and, having spiced seaweed and sprats and chicken and lamb. And it was the best time to be exposed to different Asian food. And I think it's just, I think it's a common food scene within Asian
well,
families.
not for everybody apparently. So there's certain misconceptions that people listening to this or watching this will have. And one misconception that I think people always assume, rightly or wrongly, that Asian women are good cooks. So growing up, my mother was an amazing cook. She just knew her flavors. She was married to my father. He was a soldier in the army. So she traveled around Karachi and places.
wow.
So she got to, she was using pink salt. Again, I mentioned in my book, she using pink Himalayan salt before 6 years before the whole world. Now it's trending. She
Yeah.
was using it then. She was using turmeric, giving us turmeric milk after my babies so I could heal on the inside.
Yeah.
30 years ago. I'm thinking, my God, she just knew. And it wasn't, she again wasn't trained. She had an instinct when it came to what food worked. For example, when we were unwell, she would make something called a chit. And a chit was it was fennel and caraway seeds and certain digestives to help us heal, like a soup, like a chicken soup. So she was good. We got to some of my aunt's houses and they make food. I'm like, what is this, Mum? What is this? Which eat it. So not all women have that ability to know their flavors. Mum did know her flavors. Sometimes she drove us crazy. So every summer she'd get the mortar and pestle from the neighbor and this neighbor, and we dried them on the middens, which was the outside, those that don't know, was an outside bathroom. And we'd dry the spices in the summer and have to sit there in mortar and pestle and grind them. And I did a podcast once saying, oh, it's a happy time. And she went, oh, your body language doesn't say it was happy time, Parveen. I said, are you kidding me? I hated it. I hated spices because she would insist we grind them like, Mom, I want to just play outside.
Yeah.
So her passion was, for me, it's a negative because like, Mom, it's just spice, just buy the stuff.
Yeah.
So, but then now I do the same thing. I roast them and I grind them and I pack them and I even sell them.
Oh God, it's true. It's true. You made me laugh about that because
did you do the same thing?
We did exactly the same thing. But also because I was like, why don't you just use the electric machine? That no, it'll burn the spices. You gotta do it by hand. And I'm like, oh goodness. If you see my face, it was like, And also it was also the time to make like poppadoms at Bapad and Bapri, roll them out and you have to hang them on the white sheets and then turn them over and it was not fun for a child.
No, it wasn't because we weren't that interested at that time. So my mum was a really good cook and she was passionate and I didn't know until recently. She's passed away now and I wish, I could have asked her more stories. I found out very late in life why Mum never got up in a morning. I just thought, gosh, Mum's just being lazy to feed us all. And after doing 7 children, Dad would make porridge oats for us with golden syrup every morning.
Lovely.
Make sure we got Bradford. It was cold. She worked in Bradford's second Indian restaurant for £5 a week.
Oh my gosh.
Making chapati. So she worked all night in a restaurant.
That's so intense.
I know, so intense. But she was a good cook and she passed that down to me. So not everybody knows their flavors. And again, when I'm teaching with spice, so Parveen, but what spice goes with what? I said, you can have 3 spices and still make good food. I did a show yesterday live. I work for Islam channel and I made a couscous and I said, and then I made a fresh chutney. I said, fresh ingredients makes fresh food. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
When I'm teaching cooking, people wrongly again assume the meat should be like leftovers or bad cuts. No, really good. You need really good cuts. Fresh ginger, fresh garlic, fresh coriander or cilantro, what they call it. And I guess I kept saying cilantro, it just sounds more posher. The fresher the ingredient, the fresher the flavors. And I keep saying that.
Yeah.
And people don't get it. And the other thing that people are really frightened of is the spice. So I always say you can have bags of flavor, tone down the spice. Then I've got a little phrase which I say, and I say, remember, it's a party in your mouth, not a rave.
It's true. Oh, I like that. And I like your little sass that you had going on. But it's true. Like I'm I think growing up, I had to learn to cook because my mother learned to cook from her in-laws because my mom was very sporty. So growing up, I relied on my mom's sisters or my grandparents in terms of putting flavors together. But I did have some mishaps in the kitchen, like learning to cook. And I've got to say, they were not pretty. I made like sweet potatoes with golden syrup, and I think it was about 2 tablespoons of nutmeg powder. Disgusting, absolute disgusting. And I forgot the salt. And my grandma was like, Anisha, I was like, I think I was 13. It's allowed. I was 13. I was not interested in cooking. And then the other thing was trying to make like was it mung dal, like the green dal? Um yeah, so again, you got to use a pressure cooker, and I was terrified of a pressure cooker.
I was.
Oh, oh my god, the noise. I was actually tying myself to run in the kitchen right after the whistle and then run back out because I'm like, okay, the whistle's done. I've got like 10 seconds. I tried to make it. I thought, mom does 5 whistles, gets to like the chapati rolling pin, lifts up the whistle. I did exactly the same. It went all over the ceiling, all over the cupboards. And I'm like, yeah, I'm never using a pressure cooker again. I
No.
actually waited until I was like 27 to use it. I was like, I'm not having it.
It frightened the life out of me as a child. Mum said, "Goes to the pressure again." It would whistle, and it was
It's a
almost like a
whistle.
Dalek coming to get you from Doctor Who.
It
I used to
is.
run like crazy. I've got a pressure cooker now. I don't like to use it. I think it changes the flavor of food personally.
It does.
It changes
It's
the food.
rapid cooking for me.
It was but mishaps. Gosh, I mean, I've had so many. I didn't want to learn to cook. My mum said, "You got to learn to cook." I said, "I don't want to learn to cook." And she said, "Well, you got to make chapatis." I said, "I don't make chapatis, Mum." She says, "Well, if you don't make chapatis, how are you going to find a husband?"
That I think that's in every movie by Govinda Jadha. Like she does everything about the stereotypes of what it's like growing up in the UK, but she does it to a T. Like, and when I hear these lines, and I'm like, Carlos, like if you know, and he was like, yeah, this is true. How are you going to find a husband?
Find a husband.
Yeah.
That's another surreal moment when I met Grinda Chadha. I met her recently.
Oh my god.
She was on my table and like I was starstruck. And she said, "Oh, I don't cook." I said,
Oh,
"She's like cooking, but I don't cook." The misconceptions of making chapatis, I mean, they were just all over the place. And there was a very famous film called Bargy on the Beach at the time.
I love that film.
Yeah, I love that film.
I love that. It's my favorite film of hers.
She makes this chapati, and it's sort of a paratha, and her brother holds it up in the film, and he says, "I think it died in the telepod." And so when I moved to London, I was making food for the first time without my mum's sort of guidance. I made this paratha, and it was like literally like a map of India and Pakistan. And my husband said, "What happened?" I said, "Oh, it died in the telepod." And I had a look in the telepod. The film The Fly was very famous in the 80s, 90s. So if I made a mishap, he would say, my husband would say, "Oh, did it die in the telepod?" So I had a lot of those dying telepod moments. And then I just found that I was creative in the kitchen. But yeah, there's a lot of mishaps on the way. Nobody gets it perfect. Still now, when I'm filming, and we did it, as I did yesterday, on Monday, I did a garak chai, omelette and a paratha live on TV. And I was pouring the tea, and I said, the presenter said, "Oh, Parveen, I don't know about you, but I always spill it." I said, "Well, watch me. I might spill it as well because I'm quite actually accident prone in the kitchen." "Are you kidding me? Live on TV, I spilled the tea, went everywhere all over the set." So I'm saying to the audience, here's how not to do it. So I make a lot of mistakes, and I always said to the crew, "Can you leave in my mistakes?"
Yeah, because it makes it real.
Makes it real. And said no. There's one clip it's on my Instagram where I'm making a samosa and I drop it. I dropped the samosa, and then I remember when it was Eid or Diwali or all the aunties and mums get together, and there was always one lady who could fix a samosa.
Yeah.
Always a fixer-upper. And it's a thing that we do. We don't throw anything away. You know, we're Asians. We keep everything.
It's true.
And that's why we have lots of Tupperware. So I made this samosa and they did keep one mistake in. And it's the one that got the most views and the one that feels more like me. So when we're filming and we're going to film the next show, I think we should leave in the mistakes because it's not always easy to get it right in the kitchen.
No, it's not. It's really not. But I do remember those days of learning to cook, and more times than not, it being a disaster. But it's what makes you better, you know. But to just taking a step back, you were talking about food from South Asia. And everyone talks about the secret
That's me.
spice recipe passed through the generations, right? Families seem to have their own little mixtures of how they season their food. Oh, your cat saffron's in the. Oh, right, I thought you were
Yeah, she
saffron,
just wants
sir.
some food. I'm going to bring her to say hello in a minute.
And so a lot of people talk about their own secret spices and mixes, and everyone tweaks it for their own style, such as garam masalas in northern Indian cuisine, and then South India, so that's sambar, podi. And you always hear of like my mother's or my grandmother's favorite recipe, but we never ever say our fathers, our grandfathers, our uncles, because in my household, I'm really sorry, but a lot of the men were fantastic cooks. And even to this day, when I go back to Leicester, by the way, I'm up from Leicestershire. So when I go to Leicester, my uncles cook for me like prawns and meatballs and chicken curry and broiler chicken, which I miss so much. And they are for me my favorite cooks. But why do we never say our father or our grandfather or uncles? What was it like in your household?
Are you kidding? The men in our family are absolutely useless. Absolutely, they couldn't cook for toffee. No, my dad was absolutely useless. Left it all to my mum. So yeah, we don't share that trait. Except my husband, when I'm busy, and this sounds really bad, but when I'm cooking for the people, I'll come home and have a naughty bowl of cornflakes with full fat
Oh,
meat.
that's
That's a
awesome.
treat when I'm cooking for people. Cannot face another samosa or a chicken biryani or anything. And when I'm busy, I say to my husband, "Oh, please, can you cook?" And he makes a chicken masala, and it's way better than mine.
Oh,
It's
wow.
spicy, it's flavoursome. He serves it. You just can't make chapatis after make chapatis, but he makes really good food. In terms of my family, my father, my brothers, no. My father, my uncles, it's a no. They were absolutely useless. But the only thing my father, and I talk about him, would insist on, he grew up in the war, during the
Yeah.
partition, and those that are listening to this and don't know about that partition of India and Pakistan we are referring to,
Yeah.
and our parents sort of drilled it home to us. During the partition, we'll all be, fall asleep. But it was, for them, it was a real thing because
Yeah.
the country split into two, and there was mass migration and poverty. That's why you'll find a lot of our parents' generation didn't throw food away, because they actually did starve.
Yeah.
I grew up with those principles and ethos. I was at Savoy the other day, and I got them to pack my afternoon tea.
Did you?
Yeah, I'm not throwing it away.
That's
Why
such an
should I?
Asian
Look
thing.
for it.
That's
I know. So
the
I
doggy
still
bag.
pack food away. But my dad, one thing I will give to my dad, God rest his soul, is he grew up during the partition. So he said during that time, he swore his children would never starve.
Yeah.
So we had an abundance of food in our house. My mum had the best ingredients. We didn't have designer shoes. We didn't have posh coats. We didn't have holidays. In fact, we had get in the car with your chai flask and parathas on the way to Blackpool, sit on
Oh,
the side of the
gosh.
road and have the parathas and watch the lights and come back from Blackpool. That was our holiday. But he did not stinge at all. He was very, very, very generous when it came to buying lots of ingredients. So we as a family, I now know it extremely well for a family in the 70s. We had roast chicken like twice a week, which was unheard of for a lot of families. So that's who I will give my dad credit.
Oh,
Let's
that's
say
amazing.
buying
But
lots. So we had a cellar full of boxes and boxes of ingredients, and then in the cellar lived our chickens.
oh my goodness.
We
Live
had
chickens or actual chicken? Like
actual chickens that would
actual
put
like pot
ankles when you went
chickens.
in. Actual chickens.
Oh,
Halal meat wasn't available for
okay.
Muslims, so we used to do our own. But every time we killed a chicken, we saw it, we didn't eat it. Like,
Then,
we didn't want to eat that.
no, it's curious, like, because when I traveled to Kenya, a lot of our family friends still lived there, and they also had their live chickens, and they were also Muslim, so they were doing the same thing as what you did. So there I was playing along with the
Yeah.
chicken. That evening, it's like, so where's the chicken? Oh, it's in your tummy. I was like,
Yeah.
oh my god, I'm going to become vegetarian. And I remember that feeling of like your daughter. I went through many phases of. My family will really relate to this because they're like, oh, Anisha's on one of another random diets, and I'd be like, I'm not eating chicken, but I'll have the soup and the potatoes. I was like, oh, I'm off chicken again, and I've become vegetarian, and now I'm a pescatarian, but now I'm just normal. Like
Are you
I've no
vegan now?
diets.
Are you a
I
flexitarian and
could
vegan?
never. Flexitarian be amazing. No, I am. I eat everything and anything now because it makes my life a lot easier.
Easier, yeah.
But I'm hoping that these habits will not pass on to Lucas because I want him to eat everything. I don't want him to be a picky as I was.
You're a picky Parveen. I'm going
I'm
to show
like,
you. I'm going to show you my cat in a minute. So before we say goodbye, you must see the cat. So I think, yeah. Next question, please.
okay, right. So, um, you have been cooking and teaching to cook for many years. And for me, it's the mothers or fathers or grandmothers that have that key ingredient. Socially and emotionally, cooking has helped create interesting and long lasting bonds. Within family, not especially the spices. The spices are like a secondary thing. I've seen you cook, you let your hair down, and you dance a lot, which I love. What energy, like, how do your children feel about that? Because you're so energetic. Does that rub off on your children?
Yeah. I don't know if I can say this or if we're allowed. So they say, Mom, we've got to calm down. So 3-4 things I do, which my children say, Mom, show that on your social media. So when I'm cooking and I'm tired and I need some energy, I will just grab a bottle of Coke, and I don't drink Coke normally. I'll drink from the bottle, and it's the most unladylike thing in the world. I'm like, Mom, put that on your social media. The other thing I do is when I'm in the kitchen, they say, Mom, where do you get energy? And I'll be, come on, like, let's clean the kitchen. Like, Mom, we're so tired. So they have this thing. I say, Mum, I'm sure you're snorting something. I said, no, I'm not. And so we went on holiday, and it was really hot, and I ran out of energy on this holiday, and I was really tired. And I said, Mum, you've forgotten your stuff to snort. And they always say, Mum's on mum cocaine.
Oh, it's hilarious.
Don't take cocaine. And they have this huge ongoing up, my children, that I've got this mum a drawer where the chapati flour is, because every Asian woman has a chapati flour drawer full of white powder. So they joke it's mum's cocaine, because that's why she's always so energetic. Too much energy. There are times that I am tired and say, oh, Mum's Duracell cells have run out. So I think they think that I have sometimes too much energy and they need quiet time.
It's reverse. It's the parents that need the quiet time, and the kids have the energy.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when I was first doing dinner parties, I couldn't afford staff. So we would do these dinner parties, get there. I mean, prep at home, cook there. It's like a 3-day thing. Come on, Safi, come and say hello. And she lost my train of thought, Kat. So we do the dinner party, and then as they were clearing, I would do the dancing.
Okay.
So it gets at midnight, and my son was the barman, my daughter was my waitress. They're waiting to get in the car. And are you kidding? There's me doing chummacello and dancing with a client.
Oh my goodness.
And I'd be dancing, and they said, how can you dance after 2 solid days of cooking? I said, because when you're cooking, you're stationary, you're standing in the kitchen stationary, your legs don't move that much.
Yeah.
For some reason, I need to move a lot.
Yeah.
And I find it invigorating, even though I'm exhausted. So the USP of my dinner parties was, come on then. My dinner parties was the fact that I would do all this food and they would do Bollywood dancing afterwards.
Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I don't know how you have the energy for that. But
I don't know.
I
think it's a release. I think it's because I
Yeah.
am tired. It's a release. I mean, if anybody's psychologists out there, please tell me why I do it. And I don't know why I do it, but I do it and it helps me. I'll be exhausted, but it releases something. Endorphins, I think. Maybe endorphins.
Could be. And also that adrenaline afterwards. It's like, you know what? I just need to like let loose and go crazy. So your cookbook showcases the ease of cooking with Indian ingredients. What made you focus on sharing your love of bold flavors that are easy to recreate at home? Because like you said, you know, it's not a rave in your mouth.
No, it's not. Excuse me 1 second. Oh no, she's run off again. Again, we talk about cooking with love, Anisha, and I think it was necessity. The people that know that my story is I actually designed the first recipe for my son that went to university in Manchester. Okay. So it was him that wanted to learn how to cook. And I'd said, you must learn to cook before you leave. And he said, no, Mum, I'm fine. I've got this. And he went to Manchester, which those that know Manchester has the curry mile. Yeah. It's a mile of curry houses. But in each of those curry houses, he couldn't find my flavors, my taste, because it wasn't the spices. It wasn't the ingredients he was missing. He was missing the way that I cook for him with love. So I sent him a little spice kit and said, look, here's a recipe. I wrote the recipe and sent it to him. Didn't work. I said, what are you using? He said, shop bought spice. I said, no, you mustn't. I said, use mine. I sent him some garam masala, some chili, some turmeric. I sent it. He mixed it, badly mixed it, didn't work. And he's a scientist. He did chemical engineering. He said, Mum, can you just mix it and put it in a sachet for me? Just do the whole thing. So that's exactly what I did. I wrote the recipe step by step. Step 1, step 2, step 3. It should look like this now. Okay, now it's watery. Now be brave. Turn the heat up. Cook it through. Add spice. So because I designed it for an 18-year-old boy, it was step by step. Yeah. And then I sent him the sachet. So it was add spice bag. And that was when my spice box was born.
That's
Literally
amazing.
add spice back, because I just had to tell him how to do it. He's black and white.
Literally, yeah.
Literally tell him how to do it, and it worked. And he said, "Mum, this is a great idea." And then I found that I could write recipes, and because I used to write my marketing material when I
Yeah.
worked for Ofsted, I was an inspector for Ofsted
Yeah.
Education. I was an ex-teacher. I did lesson planning, so all that helped me plan recipes,
Yeah.
then write blogs and write columns, and then eventually writing my cookbook. And now I've just finished my second cookbook. I
Oh,
find
I
it
can't
comes
wait to
natural.
find out. No, but
The
that's
second
good. I
one's all
think,
dedicated to my children. It's all recipes I cook with them during lockdown.
well, that's really good because you've inspired your kids in a fun way, as opposed to my memories of growing up of like just spending your summer like learning to make chapatis in Preston, and I'm like,
No,
that's not summer.
I
It's that
know.
whole thing of like, I want to go to like, I don't know, Southport or Blackpool. Not that I enjoyed
Or
it. Like,
Whitby.
yeah, fish and chips. Actually, I have to say though, the best fish and chips I've ever had is in Preston for me.
No, we're in
Yeah.
Bradford. Best
No,
fish and
because
chips. No,
they cook it in like proper fat, and I'm like,
they
that's
do.
it's
I'm a
yummy.
Harry Ramsden's gal.
I do love that because I used to work. I went to Harry Ramsden's food exhibition because I was working for a Chinese company from wow, what's it called? Next to Sheffield, I've forgotten. My mind's blank. Anyway, a city from Doncaster, and to work for this Asian company, like selling Chinese stuff. And I had the best fish and chips from Harry Ramsden's. And I have to say, it was my best lunch on a working lunch. It was
I think, you
amazing.
know what? I think if I don't eat my own food, then I think my go-to food is I love fish and chips. We all love fish and chips, and I don't know if it's a northern thing or not, but that is one of my naughty pleasures. Is
Fish
definitely
and
fish and
chips.
chips, curry sauce, and mushy peas. And I know, don't judge me for the curry sauce. It tastes very salty and non-curry like,
But
but
it's
I like curry
amazing.
sauce and ketchup. But listen, I love ketchup so much. When I'm having a samosa and bhajis, I have mine with ketchup.
Me too. I'm going to disgust you in a minute. So, like you said, fish and chips. I like my fish, my chips, my pucker pie. Sorry, I'm not a Hollands girl. Not a Hollands girl. Sorry, blooper there. Curry sauce all slodged into one tray, and it's absolutely revolting. But my mum was from
You're naughty,
Lancashire.
right?
So I've got definitely naughty and maybe not attractive
Not so
bite.
nice.
um, and I've got a love for pies. I'm all about the pie, like chicken pot pie. Like, I think it's a
Yeah,
northern thing, and that really
might be.
that's one of my things about the pie always. Moving on. Um, when I was doing some research on you, I kept coming across a dish of yours called mango mess.
Yes.
I'm really intrigued. Can you tell me more about this yummy dessert of yours?
Oh, it's just divine. Having now, I've seen it's a dish that I designed about 10 years ago, but now I'm seeing it everywhere. I was doing a dinner party. In fact, I think I share it on my show. I was doing a dinner party, and it was mango lassi and
Yeah.
eaten mess, and
Oh,
the strawberries had gone off. So I used the mangoes, I think, for the eaten mess instead. And my friend was with me catering. She went, just use the mangoes, just use the mangoes. And we did, and it was way better than anything. And it was a
oh
happy
wow.
accident, we called it. And since then, I think the number of dinner parties I've served this at, and I serve it. Here's the thing, Anisha, Indian food is not synonymous with elegance.
Yeah.
And even with the mains, you can't really make it look that elegant. But when I do my gulab jamuns, I cover it in gold leaf and glitter and key with
Yeah.
roses. With my mango mess, it's in a martini glass, topped with that beautiful bright orange mango pulp, and then I add glitter on top. And it's like when my clients have it. In fact, I cooked for my agent recently, and he said, "Oh, I'm not a sweet person, not a sweet person." He had two. Because the way I make it with whipped cream and a little bit of cardamom. It's
Oh,
cardamom-y, it's sweet, not too sweet, it's creamy, and then the sweetness, the mango comes through, and it's the perfect dessert to have after an Indian meal, because our food can be quite heavy with the naan and the
yeah.
rice. But again, it was an accident, and I've served it to so many dinner parties. So, and
I'm
it actually,
excited to
when you
see
have
that.
it, when we meet, it's one of the best desserts I've ever made.
I'm quite excited.
Can you tell that I like it? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so, because you were like, it's not too sweet, and it's sweet, and it's like this. And because
So
for
good.
me, we have so many like Indian, like South Asian cuisine in particular. We have such sweet desserts like gulab jamun. We have all the pendas. We have burfis, all of that, and sikhan, just everything. And for me, I find them so sweet and rich. So
They're
when you're talking about
they're
your,
simply sweet. So I have a theory. Are you ready for it, Anisha?
I'm so ready for it because I
We
need to
we
learn
are
this.
a culture. We have a culture. We are a culture of vibrancy and energy and loudness, and we're a culture of polarity. So you have sweet is very sweet, savory
Yeah.
is very savory and spicy, and sour is very sour. You think of
Yeah.
a Golgappa. Who in the right mind would have a pot of sour water? You know what? And then it's a thing. And who would burn their mouth with chilies? We do it. And who would,
Yeah.
decay their teeth with sugar? We do it because we have flavors. We're up, we're down, we're sour, we're sweet. So
Yeah.
the flavors are loud in every sense of the word, and there's a polarity of flavors, I think, because if you look at the way we have tea, our tea is hot and sweet. The way we dress, we got
colourful.
diamonds in our hair, and we have 6 yards of our tail. What is that about? So we have a very vibrant culture, and we have a vibrancy in our food.
Yeah.
You can go to certain parts of England, everything's very sort of tame, very plain, and the flavors reflect that.
Yeah.
So that's my theory. We
I
are
think
a
so.
vibrant culture with vibrant flavors.
We are true, because that is so true, because I feel like sometimes when we get dressed up, we look like a disco ball or like a lit up Christmas tree, because everything is just everything. It's very bold jewelry, shiny jewelry, glittery shoes, and I'm like, oh my goodness. Sometimes I'd love to go to a wedding wearing my trainers and a sari, because your feet throb like after the event, and it's like, oh. But I do know what you mean. But you're right. We are very polarized. It's very one extreme to the other.
Savory is very savory, the sweet is very sweet, and the sour is very sour. So we have bold flavors in every sense of the word, in every part of the palate. It's not like we've got spicy food and we live without sweet. Even the sourness of our yogurt. We have a sour yogurt. We have a bundi yogurt. And I don't think any of my Asian friends like, well, yogurt, Parveen, yogurt. What do you put in it? I said, onion. What? I said, because it's sour. She went, it's sour. I said, to go with the biryani, to go with the sweet. And so we have these flavors that are very loud, and they literally make your palate dance. And so that's why the sweetness, is there.
It's very
Quick
true.
tip. So I'm going to educate you now, Anisha.
Okay.
You know, we have our sweets look sweet and colourful, and they add colouring. Why does one add gold leaf and silver leaf on the mithais, on the sweets?
I'm going to act clueless, because I am.
I'm doing a podcast, Karen.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm doing a podcast. Some friends have turned up.
No.
I'm doing a podcast. Come and say hello. Look, come. I'm doing a podcast, Anisha, to Spain. To
Hi.
Oh, hi. Oh, it's my birthday, wasn't it? Say hello to Spain, Karen. Can you believe?
Because I'll see you later.
All right, bye. It was my birthday, everybody. So Karen just got me some flowers. Well, that wasn't in the script, was it?
No, it wasn't. But I saw your cat as well running across.
You saw Safi, yes. So Karen's taking me to a Tibetan sound bath afterwards.
Oh, nice.
To heal. So that's what. So the reason of the decoration of the gold leaf, silver leaf, is to ward off any bacteria.
I never knew that, but that makes sense, because I don't know if I've got it right. A lot of South Asian women always wear metal toe rings, to like balance their energy, and also to fight off any sort of like to stop yourself from getting ill. It's kind of what's the word in Spanish? It's equilibrium. Like
it's grounding, isn't it? It's keeping you balancing on your chakras and keeping grounding.
Yeah,
it grounds you. So oh god, we could talk for another 2 hours really. But
we could. A few more questions before we finish. This is a little shameful. You've already told me about your cornflakes, your honey nut cornflakes. This is a little shameful, right? So one of the many reasons I call myself the Naughty Bite podcast is because I like to know about your bloopers and about, your little sinful desserts that you would never normally share on TV or on podcasts. But my leftover sort of sinful thing is, do not laugh and do not pull a face, but you might do. Mung bean curry on toast with grated cheese as a late night snack while watching a movie. Do you have any weird curry combinations that you want to share?
I'm so disappointed in you. Well, actually, my naughty pleasure then got on its way to national TV, to a national TV chef, and now is a thing.
Okay.
So my naughty pleasure is an onion bhaji butty.
That's right.
That is.
That's right.
And so when we grew up, I remember coming up from school and we had to get in from school and go to mosque. And it's like, oh, Mom, do you have to go to mosque? Yeah, you're Muslim, go to mosque. So all the things we did. But we were, and in the north, you can imagine having a carb-driven. So in the north at the time, it just seemed to be colder. There wasn't fitted carpets and central heating. I'm not painting a derelict picture of the way I grew up, but it was a simpler time. But and then we had the power cuts in the north of England due to save energy. People know that it was a difficult time. Mum would make onion bhajis, and there just wasn't enough to have a bhaji. And so we'd say, Mum, can we sandwich in it? And we'd put it in 2 slices of white Warburton's bread, lashings of butter. The hot bhaji, we'd hit it, melt the butter with ketchup, have that with tea.
You and your ketchup.
And
Well,
that was
like that.
That was a thing that we all loved. And even now, well, my brothers and sisters love it. But if I'm going to make a pan of, if I put the pans on and my son says, Mum, oh, are we making any bhajis? Went, have you got any white bread?
Yeah.
And it's got to be ketchup, not mint dip or chutney or tamarind. Ketchup. No Asian dip, thank you very much. We want good old-fashioned ketchup. People say, do you have ketchup with your bhajis? I went, yeah.
And I'm guilty of it.
And when I made it for James Martin.
Yeah, I know. And
it became a thing.
How did he, what was his like, because it's mixing British and South Asian.
Yeah. And Northerners. Well, he's from the north. He loved it. Yeah. And I remember his producer saying, you know what, Parveen, this is going to be, what's that word on a Sunday when you have hangover food? Stodge in the morning.
Stodge, stodge in the belly.
So the onion bhaji bhatti now is in my new cookbook.
I can't wait. I'm so looking forward to that. But just before we finish, I've got one last question for you. And this is like a thought-provoking one, I'd say. You are, like I said before, you are another female role model.
Thank you.
A go-to motivational resource for anyone who wants to stop and change their career, not just in food, but their career. And what have you learned from this experience? Okay. What personal obstacles did you face? And your aspirations, that was a lot of questions in one, and drive for wanting to showcase such extraordinary South Asian food, but for the everyday household. Like, tell me more before we go.
Anisha, why did you ask that last? We need another podcast now.
I know.
I don't know about inspiration. I think sometimes when I feel that my inspiration was my mother, however, when she was there, she just got on my nerves. So my thighs were getting fat, that I'm looking a bit old. She was an inspirational woman in that her food was lovely. She had 7 children, mum and dad, stepbrother. There was like 11. It was ridiculous, like the Asian Waltons in the house. She complained about everything, the cleaning, my dad's flatulence, the tat he would bring home from the car boot sale. One thing she never complained about, and that was the cooking.
Okay.
And I didn't notice that while it was happening. And I thought, oh my God, why does she not complain about it? It's because she's good at it and it's her passion. Okay. So I will complain about cleaning the house, doing my accounts, doing my social media. However, all I want to do is now get in that kitchen and make my bindi.
Okay.
And I find that it gives me such joy. And it's a natural place for me to be. But it took me a long time to get to this place where I'm comfortable. I tried to be everything to everybody and get a good job and be an inspector and be a teacher and get a corporate job. But it wasn't me. My personality probably was too big to be an inspector for Ofsted. So I find that this is the first job I've got that fits my personality. Yes, I talk a lot. Yes, I'm a little bit,
You're from Yorkshire.
Yorkshire. But I can cook and I can teach and I can do those things. And I didn't think that was a skill set that one could do and have a career with. So that's where I'm the most comfortable. And in terms of mishaps and missed opportunities, and sometimes I've fallen down, too many to call, too many to mention. I've gone to bed at night and thinking, am I mad? Am I stupid? Why don't I just get a real job? Why do I keep doing what I'm doing and why do I keep falling? But there's something inside me, Anisha, that wants to do this.
Yeah.
I want to do this as a role model for other Asian women, because I didn't have anything like that when I was growing up.
Yeah.
I want to do it for my mother, who I want to make her proud, make myself proud. And the minute somebody says to me, Parveen, you can't do it, I think, just watch me. Just watch me. And that's because being an incubator baby, being an incubator for 3 months I had the will to survive.
Yeah.
And this is a fight for survival. I am in the TV chefing game for females, and it's not the easiest place to be.
Yeah.
It's where I want to be.
But you've made it.
The most comfortable in front of the camera, sharing my stories, doing my thing. that I think God at one time, when the time is right, God will give me my second break and my second show, and I'm going to enjoy it every second of it.
And I can't wait. So, Parveen, it's been an absolute pleasure, but also a blast. My cheeks are hurting from this conversation. I just want to say thank you so much. I can't wait for you to cook up a storm in your next series, because you're gonna nail it. But for everyone listening, please follow Parveen's journey. And if you want to follow her on Instagram, it's Parveen the Spice Queen. She lives up to her mug. So if you see this podcast on YouTube, see her mug. It does say the Spice Queen. It's just been amazing. So I just want to say thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. So I'm super happy to interview you today. Yeah. I got muddled with my words. So thank you so much.
It's been an absolute pleasure. I've loved it. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Bye.